What's going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. Before I start the video, I really quick wanted to thank everybody who participated in the knife sale I posted the other day. Everything went really quickly, pretty much. I think there was like one or two left, and everyone was just really awesome about being very responsive, and I really appreciate you guys making the knife sale a success. That helps me get knives that are in really great shape and good knives to people that will probably put them to more use than me. I tend to go through knives pretty quickly, and so being able to turn them around to people that really want them, so I can keep trying out new stuff and bringing you guys new videos is very much appreciated, so thank you. Alright, so this knife today you guys have seen on my channel before, but I never did a proper review. I just kind of teased it. I'm sure you've probably seen a knife that looks similar to this one with the popularity of the Tony Marfione and Deryk Munroe collaboration, but this is pretty much what launched that collaboration. This is the Sigil Mk3 by Deryk Munroe. This knife, this style knife I should say, was so popular but so hard to find that Tony Marfione approached Deryk about doing that collaboration. And there's a reason this thing is as popular as it is. Deryk Munroe is an absolute master when it comes to producing folding knives. It's just an incredible knife. So let me stop the gushing and go ahead and get the specs. So with the blade length is 3.5 inches of CPM S90V. This is, I guess you would call that a Wharncliffe blade shape. Usually the Wharncliffe is dead straight. This has a little bit of belly to it, but I'd still say that qualifies as a Wharncliffe. A little third on the blade. It has a very heavy stone wash, or as Tony Marfione would call it, an apocalyptic finish. But yeah, it's just a heavy stone wash. This is one of the most useful blades I've ever encountered. Usually I prefer the drop point for the belly and then its slicing capabilities. This thing has that beat hands down. Awesome slicer, really great tip. This thing destroys boxes. Yeah, the tip is like slightly reinforced. Just a really interesting blade shape and definitely useful. I've mostly put this to use in the kitchen and then for like breaking down packaging, which is why it looks like I got a mark on there. I don't know if that's tape residue or what. But I've been using this for a while, and the edge is still crazy sharp. It definitely will still pop hair off your arm. So the opening method, obviously flipper or this extended thumb opening, and they both work perfectly well, which is hard to do. You can see the kind of the complexity of the grind there, and it's perfectly even on both sides. So 3.5 inches on the blade. Handle length is just under 4.5 inches, like 4 3/8, somewhere thereabouts. So overall length is just under 8. It's 7 7/8, the overall length. When I had the chance to buy this, I had kind of started to prefer smaller knives, but this thing almost kind of reversed that. So now I've been buying knives closer to this size just because of how amazingly comfortable it is. Just really, really comfortable in the hand. You have this little dip down here. If you want to, you can put your thumb on this little run of jimping on the spine to get better control of the blade. So the handles are titanium with extensive milling work done. They have that same very heavy stone wash finish. They are also extensively milled on the inside to reduce the weight. You can see kind of that pocket there, and the whole thing is pocketed, both sides, which just, I mean, I think this knife weighs like 3 ounces, like dead on 3 ounces for a full titanium and CPM S90V blade. That's incredible. And for the size too, I mean, almost 8 inches overall. Yeah, he did a tremendous job of making this something that you want to put in your pocket every day and carry and use. You can even see there's pockets on the blade on the flipper tab. The action is out of this world. It runs on a caged bearing system with a bushing, a phosphor bronze bushing, so you can crank down on this screw, and you're gonna get the same zero blade play, completely free and smooth flipping action. And the detent is, he did such a good job of making the detent so that when you flip the knife with the tab, it fires out really hard, but you can still use the thumb hole and it doesn't kill your finger. And I think that's because he extended it so far down. If it was just up here, it would probably be a little bit harder. Although it's not really, now that I'm trying it, it's still pretty easy. But the fact that you are able to go this far down on the blade makes it that much easier. And you can hear that sound when it locks up. It locks up like a bank vault. Zero blade play. You can see the over travel stop here. That's kind of like the artistic flourish of this knife. Deryk's maker's mark is on the pivot screw there. Really great idea at making that a captive pivot screw by using this little kind of collar here. You can see some engraving work done on the blade there. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that it might have some, I think it's like a religious thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he is a devout Christian. I will not comment on that, so, you know, whatever. The pocket clip, it looks really funny on this knife. I can't deny that. It looks like a little dick or something. It doesn't look like it belongs on this knife at all, but it functions really well. Easy in and out of the pocket. But you know what? I will give this knife a ding on the pocket clip. Aesthetically, it doesn't really feel like it belongs on the knife. And then when you are putting this in your pants, there's not all that much of a gap here. So for thicker clothing, like for thinner, you know, jeans and slacks, real easy in and out of the pocket. But for thicker stuff, it's not quite that easy to put in the pocket. Easy to take out, not that easy to put in. You can see all the screws, which are titanium and anodized and made by Deryk himself. The back spacer with the lanyard hole, almost like a floating back spacer. I guess that technically is a floating back spacer. Yeah, there's not much as far as artistic flourishes go. Obviously the milling work done to the handle, the anodizing of the screws, and then this kind of naked G10 with the crater pattern. I don't care. This is one of the most functionally perfect knives that I've ever owned and I've ever seen. it's almost unrivaled. There are some, like Thorburn, the newest Thorburn I got, is close, I shouldn't say close, I'd say it's as functionally perfect as this knife is. But like, let me think, like the Shirogorovs I have, they have the same kind of like fall closed smoothness, but their detent isn't quite as strong as this one is. The custom division Neon does have that same kind of like snap to it, but the Neon Light and the Neon Ultralight, not just, they don't have that snap and then that sound when this thing locks up. It's just, you want to hear it over and over again. So you can see the stop pin is internal. It's part of the blade, so there's no stop pin there. Lot of little details. You could own this knife for a while and still not have found all the details. You really need to take it apart and go over it looking for the details to find everything. Construction wise, very simple. The pivot screw and then the 3 anchor points down here. Very easy to take apart, very easy to put back together and get it exactly. That's one of the biggest gripes I have with knives, is when I take it apart and put it back together, it should look exactly like it did when I took it apart. But there are so many knives that like need to be just so, like this screw needs to be tightened to this certain thing, and this screw needs to make sure that it's there. Otherwise you end up with a knife that doesn't look quite the same, like maybe the centering's a little bit off, or maybe the flipping action doesn't feel quite the same. This one, it's almost impossible not to get it back to the way you had it when you took it apart. Yeah, I guess I'll talk about value now. These, I think from the maker, from Deryk Munroe himself, I think they were an amazing value. They were something like, for this basic type model, I think they were under $1,000, like maybe 800 bucks or something like that. And because it's such an amazing knife, and because Deryk is such a perfectionist, he makes barely any of these. Like this Mark III, which is kind of the most popular of his Sigil models, he made for 1 year. He made between 2014 and 2015, I think, or maybe 2013 and 2014, I forget. But he made so few of them that the secondary market just goes fucking nuts for these things. I bought this at the New York Custom Knife Show, which is when I showed it to you guys, like that day after I kind of teased it, for I think 2,400 or 2,300, right thereabouts, which is a lot of money. That's a lot of money, especially for a knife, you know, like this. It doesn't have anything exotic to it. Yeah, the craftsmanship is absolutely top notch, but you know, titanium and CPM S90V. Granted, it's had a lot of work done as far as like pocketing everything and all the after work done on the handle scales. Obviously the hardware, titanium and handmade. You know, it's a handmade knife, so I get that it carries that premium price. But that's the problem with a knife that is handmade. You can't reproduce it properly. So I have another knife on the way that I'm gonna bring this back out and compare it to, which is the Marfione version of this knife, and we'll take a look at the differences and why kind of that hands-on attention to detail perfectionist like Deryk Munroe, the secondary market bears the prices out to the heights that they go to. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up before my dog runs away from me, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, take it easy.